Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Prof. CK, and this is All the Mod 7 to the Sky. Let's get started. Hello again. It's been a while since I've recorded, and the reason is this. I I hate it. Every time I log in, every time I try to start moving our stuff, it doesn't really look like the Serenity. It looks like a weird goose with crazy hunchback camel hump problems. Um, so I scoured the internet and I found a much better design by posted by New Valkyrie 1970 up on Planet Minecraft, and I just I can't bring myself to keep going with this. Yeah, but since it's not my original design, I'm not gonna have you guys sit through a time lapse of me building New Valkyrie's design. So and through the magic of editing, we now have a much better Serenity. So we'll take a quick look around. The shape is right. I did get a suggestion that the thruster should be pointing down since we're parked. I like that. Uh, we can use the interior of this for like resource production. Move our sieves and stuff up in there. It looks like the Serenity, and if we go inside, it actually has a really nice interior. So let's go check that out. So we've got the cargo bay, we've got a bunch of, oh, I missed one. I have to fix that. But we've got these catwalks that I added in. If we go up to here, we get, yes, the cockpit. So we have all of the living quarter areas. We'll put some frame trapdoors with steel blocks. We have here the cockpit with proper glass. This lower front area. And it's just better. The dining area, kitchen. I'm going to put a Cooking for Blockhead's kitchen over here. We'll use some of the Mr. Crayfish's furniture to get the table and so forth in there. Some storage spaces. And all the way back here, we have the engine area, which is where we'll put our power generation. So more space down underneath. Like this is a proper Serenity. We have the various passenger quarters, and the med bay area is here. Yeah, the med bay area would be here from the show, and then back to the cargo area. I have to fix the spots where I missed the catwalks, but that's easy enough. These catwalks are just a bit of steel. So if we take a look, it's these metal bars, which are just, or I'm sorry, not even steel, it's iron. Uh, so 3 iron makes 12 metal bars, 5 metal bars makes the 4 steel catwalks, and we put them down. And then if we go off here, we get the shuttle. Parked, and then we can go outside. And I think, whoops. If we cross to the other side, we have Inara's shuttle. Which we can decorate up and, I don't know, maybe put our bed in here. This will be our shuttle. We are Inara. Now, we'll see. And then lots of passageways to get around and about. There's a few trapdoors in the ceiling, if I can remember where they are. Oh, we'll find them when we get to them. I put this clear stained glass. So anyway, I am far, far happier with this. So thank you, New Valkyrie, for sharing this design. And now I can get back to our content. Whoops. And I should definitely make sure I turn my jetpack on before I open that trapdoor. Anvil. Let's do something with that. So we made these a really long time ago for me. It's just an episode or two ago. We set these tombstones up. We've managed to gather a couple of souls, attracted them. We'll see if the other two populate. But what we can do with these is use them, amongst other things, we can use them to strip enchantments. And I've already made a couple of these books. So it's just lapis, that graves dust we've been gathering in a book. And if we grab, here it is, that Stonebreaker pickaxe that we got, Fortune 4, Efficiency 5, like, I've already done this a couple times in testing and stripped a few of the others, but let's put the book in the offhand. We put an item to disenchant in the main hand. Come over to a grave with a soul and right click, and it pulls all of those enchants off onto separate books. So we now have an unenchanted Stonebreaker and 3 books. Now I'm going to quickly put those on our Aldemodium pickaxe and be right back. Alright, so now we have a Fortune 4, Efficiency 5, Tombstone Soulbound pickaxe. And we can put you away. We'll put the extra Book of Disenchantment away. And I did the same thing. We had gotten a sword somewhere along the line that had capturing on it. So I grabbed that and this Tombstone Soulbound. So if we die, we get to keep the item and we'll respawn with it. So there's other things you can do with the Krail's tombstones. We'll talk about them as we get to them. But now that I finally have a Serenity that I'm happy and willing to live in, I can go ahead and get all this stuff moved inside. Be right back. Alright, so I've gotten pretty much everything moved in except for the smeltery, which we'll figure out later, and the coke oven, and the gravestones. I've left those out here. We'll build the proper graveyard at some point. So if we take a look, where did it all go? So this I thought was really clever. The original design had these hidden storage compartments with some piston doors, but with the frame doors, which, let's take a look at that really quick. So the framed blocks let you create these, using these frame cubes, which is sticks and planks. You can create, for example, framed doors and put whatever block texture on it you want. So if we break that apart, we've got our frame door, place that, and grab some stone bricks, and they're hidden. Now we've also got our storage terminal here, which is connected to all of these compacting drawers here through the storage controller, and also another one on the other side with all of these compacting drawers and all of our alchemical chests to this one here, and then using facades, which is the same idea as the frame block. So if we take one of these facades, which is just any slime and a mineral chunk from Integrated Dynamics, so we can combine that with whatever block we want to make a facade. And if we put down, say, some cables, it goes right through. And then we can pick it back up with our wrench. Now, one drawback is that once you've chosen the block that it facades with, I don't think there's any way to get it back. So it's kind of a one-time thing, whereas, with the frame bricks, with the frame blocks, you can undo it, get your blocks back, get your frame back if you change your mind and want it to look like something else. And I have connected this up through the hull. There's a ton of space out here, and this is a super confusing maze. I have gotten lost more than once. But we've got this cable running through here, up this way. There's a megatorch I put down to keep from mob spawning, and I've got a bunch of feral flare lanterns just scattered all over to keep it lit up. I've got this one running out this way, which we'll take a look at in a moment. And then if we come back here, drop down, we're back on the other side. Some of those facades hiding the cables so that we can walk through. So that's how these two sides are connected to each other. So if we go here, we can see all of our iron, which is only 223. We can put our stone bricks and facades away. We come over here, iron, 223. So they're connected with each other. The other thing I did was, if we go this way, I set up all of our sieves again, basically the same way they were set up before, just stretched out a little differently. So I've got, this is inside of the nacelle. So if we go here, I need to cover this back up. I knocked a hole so I get through. So it's inside of this cell. I thought that was a good use of the space. So if we look down underneath, we've got basically the same thing we had set up before. So we've got our barrels on our mycelium, getting water to make the soul sand, which is getting piped up to our soul sand sifter. We've got this guy here with the cobble gen that'll be making sand, which I've actually turned off. Let me turn that back on for a moment. And there we go. We can see the soul sand coming through. I'm going to turn that back off for now because we don't have power in this room. So we need to get power in here. Can't climb ladders with the jetpack on. So we've got same setup as before, all of our drawers. And I wish I'd remembered this before, barrels can pass redstone signal straight through, so we can turn these individually on and off just with a lever on the barrel without having to have that extra row of blocks in front. And then I used the clear item frames so that we can keep track of which is which. So gravel, sand, dust, soul sand, crushed netherrack, crushed endstone, and basalt. The other big difference that I've made to the layout is we've got this storage controller here completely separate from the other system, and that is connected to these drawers back here that are locked to pieces. And this is the first thing on the, let's go underneath. So we've got all of our pipes coming out, loading into that storage controller. So the first thing it hits is that storage controller to pump in the pieces into here. And then we can, so then we can pull from here into the compactor. That'll get all the pieces, which will then push straight down into this furnace. It's not ore doubling, but I think we have enough. And we've got such a backlog that I just haven't been able to keep up with, like 4,500 iron. I recently did a giant load of gold, and it took forever in the smeltery. So I think we're getting these ores fast enough, at least for now. I'm not going to worry about the doubling. We'll just turn them straight into ingots. But that still leaves us with a problem of how do we get the stuff from here out to the main system, and how are we going to get power back here? So let's take a look at our power gen. If we come back, bear with me as I get lost. Here we go. So if we head back to the engine room, we'll fly to go a little faster. So I moved all of our magnetic dynamos in here, and I hooked up the wireless charger to keep my jetpack full. In order to get power from here all the way out there, we could run a lot of crazy wires, but that's just, I don't want to run that much cable. So let's take a look at setting up some wireless power. And we are going to do that with a mod called Power. So the first thing we're going to need is an energy cell. This is the storage for power. And we'll start with hardened. Actually, no, I'll take it back. Let's start with starter. So to make a starter power cell, we need iron, we need these basic capacitors. So let's put that on the to-do list. Those come from capacitor. The tinies come from the basics. A block of redstone and dielectric paste. Okay. And then we also need this dielectric casing, which needs dielectric rods in both directions. Now, we can make just one direction and then flip it, but we're going to need both. And that's it. And that'll get us our starter energy cell. So let's go ahead and get that made. So we're going to start here with, let's see, can I find a background that's a little easier to see our to-do list? No, it's just dark on dark. So let's start by making our dielectric paste. So we can use blaze powder or lava buckets with coal and clay. We have a ton of blaze powder. That's easier. We'll make like 4 stacks. Then we need the dielectric casing, takes the rods. So let's make a bunch of iron bars. Probably going to end up running out of iron. Let's make half a stack of horizontal and half a stack of vertical. Okay. So then we can make our casing. And then we need to make, it was the capacitor. Yeah, we need the tiny capacitor, which comes from the regular capacitor, which is more of that dielectric paste, block of redstone and iron, which will let us make the tiny capacitors, which will let us make our energy cell starter. Now if we put this guy down somewhere that has power connected, which is not there, he will start filling up, and he holds 1 million FE. FE and RF, remember the same thing. But if we wanted to upgrade this from starter to, say, basic, we could make just straight into the basic, or we could do 2 starters to make that. So let's go ahead and make a second starter really quick. This is actually not the most efficient way. It's easy, but if you've started working your way up the path, you don't lose your investment. Unfortunately, it's only for the energy cells. The other things we're going to be looking at will not upgrade that way. So now we just need one more dielectric casing. We're going to use a ton of these. So let's just make a bunch. And now we've got our basic. Put that down. That holds 4 million. So it took 2 starters at 1 million each to give us 1 basic at 4 million. All right, so this is a way that we can store our power, but still we need to get it from here up to the front. So what we're going to use for that is these ender cells. And the ender cells give us wireless energy transfer. Now these don't upgrade, so we'll go straight to making the hardened. In order to make the hardened, so for any of them, even the starter, we need to get this ender core, which we make with an energizing orb. We'll come back to that in a second. And if we're going to do the hardened, we're going to need this energized steel, which is iron and gold in the energizing orb. So let's go ahead and make the orb, which we need more of these dielectric rods. You may be noticing a pattern. So that's the orb, and then in order to put power into the orb, we're going to need the energizing rod. So now these do upgrade. So in order to get a basic, you have to make a starter. In order to get a hardened, you have to make a basic. So let's go ahead and just make the starter. More dielectric rods. And the last time I tried to do this directly onto the pipes pipe, it wouldn't connect. Yeah, it doesn't connect there. But what we can do, we can connect it to the energy cell. So this just needs to be, I think, within 8 blocks of the orb, and it'll automatically connect. So let's grab some iron. Oh, if we are running low on iron. Let's grab some gold. Yeah, you can see I did all that gold smelting. It might be worth it for me to get a load of iron started up in the smeltery while we're doing this, because I don't know that we've got enough to finish. Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm going to start up some iron smelting. Okay, so in order to get this cooking, we're going to need the energized steel and the ender core, which is going to take another dielectric casing and capacitor and an eye of ender. So we've got this. We need that. And I might as well grab 2 of these. And there. So we can come over here. And we see that little laser is pumping it in, and in the bottom center you see the percentage as it's counting up and turning that into energized steel. Now, one thing that's important is, and we can automate this, it's a little bit tricky, so we'll do that later, because what you can't do is multiply the recipe. So if it's 1 gold, 1 iron, it's exactly 1 gold and exactly 1 iron. So if you try to just hopper it in, you got to do some clever redstone to get it to where you've got exactly the right amount and no more. So we get these going, and that's going to take a little longer. Let me cook these 2 up in the rest of this energized steel, and I'll be right back. All right, we've got the parts. Let's make the ender cell. Obsidian, energized steel. Now, an interesting thing to note with the ender cell is it doesn't have any storage of its own. So in order for it to have storage, we need to put a cell in here. And I'm going to make a few extra ender cells, or energy cells, so we have a bit of storage into our ender cell. So I've added a few in here. We're now up to 14 million FE max storage. We can slide this guy over, and he'll start pulling power in from the energy pipes. So that's how we're getting our power in. Let's put you back here. We'll need you again later, I'm sure. Actually, you know what? Let's put you on this side, make it easy to get at, closer to the storage terminal. This is the one that we were looking at from the other side. So we've got all of that cabling back there and a cyan terracotta facade, so it blends in. So in order to get the power out, what we're going to make is ender gates. So let's go back to at power, and now we could make these ender cells and put them around all over, but a much more cost-effective recipe is these ender gates. So let's make some energy cable. We're a little low on dielectric rods. Let's make a bit of that. And you'll notice that you go through a ridiculous amount of this dielectric rod here. Oh, we need to make a hardened capacitor. So we need to make a large capacitor. And if you remember way back, I had mentioned don't be afraid to follow the rabbit hole on the recipes. Sometimes they get several layers deep. Pretty soon we'll get into auto crafting, where we can set up the system to automatically make all of the components, the subcomponents, the sub-subcomponents, sub-sub-subcomponents, and just say, give me ender gates, and the system will do it from there. They don't stack. Now, we have that extra flux compactor. So we put this down, it has no power. We can put this ender gate on it, and it fills up. And that's pulling power straight out of here into there, as far as we need it to go. Unfortunately, these still don't connect to, I'm right-clicking furiously, they do not connect to the, the pipes. So we need to make, actually we don't need to make, we need to grab our energy cables, and the energy cables do connect, so we can use that as a bridge. I'm going to pop back over to the sifting area, and I'll be right back. Alright, so let's come up here out of the way. We can pop that there, and it looks funky. It's connected, I promise. And this is now putting power into here, and we can set it to input, output, or both. And if we set this to pull, now it's connected, and these should, yep, be filling up with power. Now it's slow because the pipe can only move 256 RF. This cable can move 10,000? 5,000. So we need to upgrade this. Let me grab that really quick. Which now can move 32,000, and it is pumping right up. So these are all on, and we'll have to do the same thing down here for this guy. This is ugly. I don't like the way it looks, but it'll do for now. Grab that other, yep, I have it. And now the flux hammer is full. So as this breaks the cobblestone into gravel, this will turn the gravel into sand, which will fill up this barrel. And then the last thing we need to do is start flipping these on. So let's turn on just the gravel one. Now I do have these pipes turned off for a moment just so that we can see what happens. So we've got one silver, and we should see, let's see, where is silver? We have 2 silver back here. So let's turn this pipe on, and it should, no, it's going to pull it into all the other ones. But we have 3 silver. Nope, we still have 2 silver. All right, we're going to have to turn all of these on. 1 second. All Alright, so now they're all on. And the stuff that the gravel is sieving is going into here, except for the pieces, which are getting pulled out to here. And if we turn this one to pull, it should start putting the pieces in here, compacting, and pushing them down into this netherite furnace. But we don't have any fuel. So the last thing we're going to do for this, well, the next thing we're going to do for this is make a factory upgrade. The factory upgrade will let us run that furnace off of RF, and will also let it smelt more than one thing at a time. The other thing we're going to make while we're down here is a couple of ender chests. So these are not the vanilla ender chests, these are ender storage, and they let us set channels, and also we can interact with them through pipes and things. So we can, let's open this up, go to augments, put this in. We could also shift right click it. Now we have lots of fields, or lots of working areas. Let's reset all of these. We want to input from the top. We need to input fuel from the left. Oh no, we need to actually reset that pipe. Yeah, it doesn't update. So we see how fast that runs, right? And then underneath, we can set this to pull, but it has nowhere to go. If we come around here, I did leave an open space, and we can put this ender chest here. So now all of the stuff that's in these barrels, let's set you to output, and it can cook all that stuff, and you saw it's pretty quick, and it's pushing it into this ender chest. And all the stuff in these barrels will go into that ender chest as well. If we come back over here, I set up a space with this item importer, and actually let me disconnect that for a moment. So this ender chest, white, is connected to that ender chest up there. It's the same inventory. So if we put an item importer on top, let's line that up better. All of these things, oh, it does need a variable card. Let's grab one of those really quick. Variable cards can get really powerful and really complicated. We're not going to get into that right now. It just needs one card in the import all items true. So now all of that stuff that's getting processed up there will get pulled into here and then directly imported into our system. It'll go into the appropriate place in the drawer. Let's double check that we set our priorities to 10. Yep. So it'll go to the storage controllers first, into here, into there. So we now have this area completely set up, and we can turn all of our sifters back on and start generating our resources again. And nice compact out of the way, and because this ender chest is hooked up to the importer, anything we put in here will get pulled into the system as well. I've been keeping these pipes in my backpack. So that's it. Whoops. Back to home. And I think we can call that an episode. So if you have any thoughts, ideas, questions, suggestions, let me know. If you liked this and want to see more, let me know by clicking the like button. And thank you very much for coming along. I will talk with you next time. Bye-bye.